Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome to Everything Yet Nothin. Here's a hillbilly in eyeshadow who's looking fabulous and talking about anything yet something. Get ready to chew on a blade of sweet grass and talk about a variety of LGBTQ topics to the lifestyle of a gay hillbilly. Watch out, folks. These hills don't just got eyes. They got themselves a vodcast. Now, here's T-Roy.
Hey, welcome to Everything Yet Nothin, where you never know what's going to go on here. I mean, we have had so many shows. Okay, so we're laughing because T-Roy TV, I'm always like, T-Roy TV, where you never know what you're going to see and what you're going to get, and I almost went into that. But this isn't T-Roy TV. This is Everything Yet Nothin. Tonight, 2 weeks ago, if you watched the episode,
this night 2 weeks ago,
yes, we have Mr. Josh Heston, and he's back on here to find out who the man behind all his stuff is. He has books. He helps State of the Ozarks with all kinds of stuff. Puts together the.
Oh, I put the man behind the magazine.
Man behind the magazine.
I didn't know that. Because State of the Ozarks is an online magazine.
There you go. That's really a good idea. I'm proud of you, babe.
Sometimes I use my finger.
Sometimes.
I don't.
Don't get twisted.
Get used to it.
It'll be different in like 20 minutes. So yes, we are back on here. It has been kind of a crazy week. Well, I had to postpone the brunch hour this last Tuesday because I've been sick, and I'm still sick, but since I'm this way, I can do this. So the other one, I have to go into a studio to play the music and all that good stuff. I don't have that here. So
virtual,
yeah. No. You're supposed to do what you did.
I did.
Thank you.
I just did it.
You're so good at that. God, I cannot believe it. Like, can you believe it? That's why I love him. So, anyways, back to the week. I have been sick for ever since Tuesday. Well, Monday. I went to.
No.
Well, I went and I screamed at the.
Scotty Austin concert.
Yes, Scotty Austin concert.
Yeah, that's why it started.
Okay, not even Friday, but Saturday too, or was it Sunday? Friday and Saturday. So Sunday was awesome, and then Monday I started coming down with all this stuff, and then I got up Tuesday and I really didn't feel good. So I thought it was like me just being wore out from yelling and screaming and having a good time at Branson, at the right behind the Olive Garden and 76th Highway. Well, not Olive Garden, 76th Highway, but you know what I mean. And at the Branson Fall Theater in Branson, Missouri. It's also now it's the Nashville Roadhouse Live Theater. Check it out. It's literally they're both the same thing but different names. So they're moving up in the world. I mean, with their number one hit here recent. Well, the last. Gosh,
well, thank you for dropping in.
Years.
Hello, T-Roy. Getting ready for my show. I dropped in for a minute.
Hey, what's up?
I hope you have a great show.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. You too. Much love. And so went out there, screamed, and had to miss work. So everybody that's watching this, if you're watching this, the brunch hour is still there, but just not this week. Because this. So anyways, how's your week been? But he's been working his rear end off at that one place with that one stuff.
And
those one people. In Branson.
Yeah, it's been
on Highway 248. That's all I can say.
It's been a lazy couple days. I
Yeah.
haven't really. I've
You act like you've been off or something.
Yeah, off in the head and off on the
I thought
couch.
you were off.
Not off of the couch, actually.
He has been holding that couch down.
I
Like,
have.
don't let him pull you. Oh, no. He's like,
I've got chores to do. I have a lot of
babe,
stuff to do.
we're not done
today,
with this
but what I
movie
do
yet.
Instead, I take a nap.
Movies. Come and watch a movie with me because he goes to sleep. That's all. Really?
I come by it naturally. My grandma does the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Did the same thing. She'd sit down and watch a movie, and it'd be.
Yep.
I'd sit
16
down and watch a
years.
movie
I
and-
know. I've been and I still put up with him. But it's
part of the reason we don't go out to theaters.
yeah, right? Because he falls asleep and I'm all
I mean, when we go to the drive-in, I'm good until the second movie, and when we go to the second movie, I'm like.
And if you ever go to the Branson Star and you hear some crazy blonde-headed, like this, man yelling above everybody else, it's me. That's like my thing. So yeah, I'm always loud. Whenever I go out. Whatever.
But anyways, we're not here to talk
Stop
about
making
this. We're here to
faces.
talk about Josh. I said always.
Oh my
I just mouthed.
Oh,
Anyways.
oh yeah, we can't do that.
Always.
Like literally on the meeting, that was one of the things we can't do unless it's our own. And we say it is. So anyways, but no further ado, here is Mr. Josh Heston. Hey, what's up?
One of these days I'm gonna
Hey guys, how are you?
Oh, we're great. How are you?
Mm,
A nice cup.
thank you. Courtesy of Maple Hill Ceramics and Fine Arts in Forsyth, Missouri.
What's up?
And it's been a good week. I feel
Yeah.
like it's been Friday since Wednesday. So
Nice. That's always a nice thing.
it is. I'm ready for Friday. Big day tomorrow. Big day Saturday. I finally realized for me, I think my only day off is Wednesday, and I still work Wednesday night. But it is what it is.
Heck, it is what it is. I feel ya. Like I feel like I'm working every day except maybe today, and I'm still working.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh, I am. I felt horrible. Like I am not gonna tell you how I felt, but it was horrible. Yeah, but I'm feeling a little bit better. My voice is still crackly, so
That's all right.
yes,
That's why you have
it's on the move.
your soda right over there.
I know, right?
Look here.
I did not catch that. So.
Yes. I said that's why he has a soda over there. He made it all dramatic.
Oh my god, it's even worse. Big spoon.
It's because I don't know how to keep his mouth shut. I mean, let's be honest.
Because of you. No, I never say anything whenever me and Josh has been out. Nothing.
No.
I just sat there. Whatever. I start from the beginning and till the end, and then I continue.
Oh, I did the same thing, guys.
Yeah.
It's good.
So, we are back to talk about the man behind the magazine. So, who is the man behind the magazine?
Oh, I have no idea. It is a funny thing, and I think I think first of all, I'm a writer, and second, an artist. But and I see this because as in my work with State of the Ozarks, I advocate
Right.
other people and highly creative people on a very regular basis are like, oh, I don't know how to talk about myself, and I'm like, that's fine. I'll talk about you, for you, because that's my job, and work with people in that process. But then when it gets turned around to me, I'm like, yeah, I want to talk about me, but I don't know what to say. I do think. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm totally the same way. I'm like, it was T-Roy. Um, you not see it on Facebook? God, is that not enough?
It's I think first and foremost I'm a writer. That would be the thing that I'm most comfortable with is writing.
Awesome. And you've had a recent book or a book?
Yeah,
Yeah.
couple years
Yeah, too.
years old. Just happened to
That's
have one
recent.
right here.
Pretty recent.
Yeah, because I
What?
went and grabbed it off the shelf. Yep,
Ooh, nice.
I know. I'm proud of it. Plague Job's Doctor by Joshua Heston. The subline is some fairy tales have no happily ever after. So that gives you an idea of the darker nature of some of my writing.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, and for State of the Ozarks, folks have really gotten used to the idea of me writing in a very homey, nostalgic, sentimental, kindly style, and that is the approach. For folks who read my stuff in the newspaper, or if they read it online, either on social media or via email, or if they're reading articles online, especially my editorials, I really want people that their takeaway is that in everyday life, the world is often not as scary as the media portrays. It's not as terrifying. We need to get to know our neighbors. We need to connect with other people. We need to let down our guard a little bit. And sometimes I get hit up with a couple of things with the editorials. The first one is that, wow, we think that, I thought you were much older. That was the one. Of course, the beard makes, I'm getting there. But like a lot older. Like I was, writing in my 30s, and then I thought I was in my 60s, because they're like, wow, you are so nostalgic about your childhood. I'm like, well, I am. It was during the 80s, but I'm still nostalgic. It wasn't Roy Rogers, it was Star Wars, but that
Oh yeah, totally.
huge Star Wars fan, huge Star Trek fan, huge Marvel fan, basically all the cool pop culture stuff. But I don't know if Star Trek counts as cool, but it's cool to me.
I like it. It's cool.
It has a pretty good following, so I guess it would be cool.
It's fun. Next Generation all the way. I continually reference Next Generation, but the other thing is, like, I got an email a while back from a reader. He was talking about some pertinent environmental issues, and he's like, "Oh, you need to put this into the weekly," and I'm like, "Well, no, I don't. I may cover it in an article, that if I think that we can swing that, but the editorials are really a place for people to relax, just kind of come home, so to speak, and all that.
Right.
Very homespun, nostalgic, sentimental, homey, and I kept the writing style. My writing style is consistent pretty much across the board, but when I wrote my fiction book, I'm like, this may mess with people, and I think sometimes it does, because it really goes down the rabbit hole of some dark stuff, and some very dark, difficult themes and ideas, and people who are accustomed to regular Josh writing are like, oh, we went down into the basement on that one. I'm like, yep, you sure did. It was very cathartic. And I encourage people. I teach writing on a regular basis. I coach people in writing, and I think I think writing is a very powerful medium. It has an almost magical quality certainly to affect people beyond us, but it also has the capacity to affect ourselves. We can exorcise all sorts of demons within ourselves by writing it, whether
Right.
that's in real life, in nonfiction, or whether that's in fiction, whether it's journaling or whether that's creating a new
Yeah.
world. And
Absolutely.
it's powerful stuff, and I'm a fan of doing it.
But that's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I can't wait to read it.
I'll get you a copy. It's but you got to
Awesome.
read it. You got to read it. If I get you a copy,
Oh,
you
I
gotta
will. I'll read it. I'll even read it on my show.
Well, and
Joshua.
you're not censored, so you can.
Wow. I'm gonna love them. Even better.
That was,
So that is so
Yeah.
awesome.
I
Like,
appreciate that. It was.
so
It was
when
fun.
did you start writing? Like,
Let's see. I
what age?
started writing or writing the book.
Writing.
Writing. I started writing in first grade.
That's
6,
awesome.
7, 8 years old. That's when I began, and it was an incredibly comfortable medium for me across the board, and it certainly is something I have spent years and years and years, working on it, honing the craft, but it was never something that, pretty much from the point of the very first, like first and second grade, I knew I could write, and was never doubtful about it.
Wow.
And then, and that's that. There's a lot to be said. A lot of people do second guess themselves in writing, and I think that's unfortunate, because I think we're much more capable of being good
Well, yeah.
writers than we
Right.
realize.
Right. That's yeah. Absolutely. I'm kind of like that because, yeah. No, I've never really written like totally. You're lucky to be able to sit down and write a book. You
It
wrote
was.
2 of them.
Yeah, it was. It's been. It was a very surreal experience to hold my first novel, like, actually in my hands and look at it and be like, oh wow, it's real.
Oh, bad.
Not a it is a figment of my imagination, but like, it's a physical figment now. That's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
a neat feeling.
Absolutely. That is so cool.
It is. And then obviously, I mean, a lot of people don't know they'll even have a book, because I'm like, okay, I did that, I don't know how to talk about it, so I appreciate it. It honestly, even now, it feels a little strange. Your own art is very personal.
Yes.
And there is, we encourage people, obviously, to put themselves out there, but the blunt reality is that when we do put ourselves out there, for better or for worse, we do make ourselves vulnerable, and it's I think a lot of people find that to be frightening, and that's an understandable response.
Oh yeah, totally. Like, I kind of like that on T-Roy TV, because that's pretty much me behind the scenes, kind of every day, you know, kind of stuff, and it's not easy putting yourself out there, like, especially whenever it's to you, you're inside, because, like you said, vulnerability, and that's you gotta,
It
watch out for yourself.
it I think there's kind of an odd yin and yang within culture. On one hand, it's very easy for people to say, oh my gosh, you got to totally put yourself out there, like, just do it.
Right.
At the same time, people are really ready to be armchair critics of anything that's out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
And there's the anonymity, or the fact that we can, and I'm not really an opponent of this, but we can say terrible things on the internet with no real repercussion. and
Right.
and be intensely critical of people with, you know, not really anything to keep that in check. I'm not in favor of putting things in check. I think that, you know, free speech is one of the most important things that we can
Oh
have.
yeah.
So
Totally.
when
Absolutely.
I you know, prep myself to put myself out there, I'm like, well, you know, I have to understand that whatever negative feedback that I might get, I've asked for it, and I have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we the you know, the threat of that is that we make ourselves vulnerable, and we have to be realistic about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like years ago, I would not have put myself out there. I don't. Yeah, it was the hardest thing. I was like, no, 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 no. Getting up on stage, singing, like I used to be like literally no. And I gradually, throughout the years, kind of like, where I am today and continuing in life. So
Yes,
everybody else, some people aren't the same kind of thing. So
exactly. And I do think it can help if you do approach it gradually.
yeah, yeah, it would have never happened overnight.
No, and it's, you know, there's lots of ways that you can cut it. I think it can be very cathartic and very freeing, ultimately, if you put yourself out there. But like I said, there's risk in anything, and that,
Yeah,
but there's also a reward, and it's something that I have to weigh on a regular basis. Is, you know, basically doing risk reward analysis on anything. I'm an entrepreneur, and when you are an entrepreneur, there's no either there's no wiggle room, or there's very little. It
right,
either works or it doesn't.
right. Yeah, and I love that you said that there was a dark in your book, because throughout my life, it's like, hey, there is no good without the bad. There is no dark without the non-dark.
Without the light.
Without the light. Yeah.
I
I've
appreciate
always
that.
said that, so I
I
love that.
appreciate that.
It's gonna be
I'm
awesome.
glad. I'll get you a copy. It is I go pretty dark, and I can. That's the you know, and this kind of fun things I was looking forward to tonight, because this is more, not that my State of the Ozarks work isn't me. It is very much me.
Right. Oh yeah, totally.
But I I like the nuance and the ambiguity and the shadow, and have always found all that kind of stuff very interesting. Sometimes to the chagrin of my family, and that
Yeah.
my my um, you know, drawings, when because I would draw a lot when I was a small kid, and if it wasn't a spaceship exploding, it was a sailing ship on fire while it sank, and or crashing into a reef, sinking while on fire. And
That sounds fun.
I was the only boy. I've got two older sisters who decidedly did not draw sailing ships on fire sinking when they were 5 and 6 years old. So it was yeah, there's a certain level of fantastical insensitivity and all of that. And nothing was cooler than a spaceship that would explode. Thank you, Star Wars.
Right.
So yeah, that was definitely there. That's, I guess, not really dark. That's just violent. Violence is fun.
That's great.
I like how you said thank you, Star Wars, though, because I mean Hollywood does some great explosions.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says. The original three, very near and dear to my heart. We won't get me started on some of the later stuff, but Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're near and dear to my heart, to where I mean I don't watch them. I have memories with them, because my grandpa used to like to watch them. He was in a certain state of mind and liked to watch the lasers.
Oh.
And so, growing up, we watched it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brothers loved it. So, like, I was like,
I ain't saying my grandpa's anything, but he likes to mow the grass. But yeah, so those three are dear to my heart, but in a different way.
Yeah.
I don't really watch the rest of the Star Wars series or anything like that, so I have nothing to compare it to. But
yeah, once in a while now, when I'm feeling nostalgic, I'll pull the original trilogy out and watch them on DVD. And there was one. Okay, so total nerd moment. There's one brief moment before George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, and this was like 15 plus years ago, that they did a release of the original trilogy, and each case had 2 discs in it. And the first disc was the fixed version that came out like in 97. But the second disc was like a super cheap cut of the theatrical version that played in 1977, 1980, and 1983, respectively. And I am a Star Wars purist, so I only watch that version that played in the theaters. Yeah, so I'm that guy. But I also have the prequel trilogy. I saw Phantom Menace 5 times in the theater, and would mow the yard and memorize lines from the Phantom Menace, which then everybody decided they hated, but I still kind of love it.
Yeah, Star Wars and Hot Wheels, that was my thing growing up. Yeah, if it wasn't like Tarzan and
Well, I went. So this was my up to 6 years old childhood, was Star Wars and Winnie the Pooh. So I literally would be like, start out with a picnic in the 100-acre woods, and I would end with the planetary destruction of Alderaan, and that probably says more about me than I wanted to. Then I was on the verge of really getting into Indiana Jones, and I remember I was like standing in the middle of the kitchen as a 4-year-old talking about the point where the Nazis melted. And my mom was like, "Okay, time out. You get Star Wars. You don't get Indiana Jones until later." But I have
yeah, Indiana Jones rock.
Mm-hmm. Love Indiana Jones though, and Blade Runner, and pretty much all of the movies from the 80s.
Yeah, I was born in 77, so.
Okay, yeah, 78. So.
God, you're old. I stopped growing out at 30. Now I'm growing younger.
But yeah, you said Winnie the Pooh. To this day, I'll be 40 in December. To this day, when my alarm goes off, the first thing when I think I gotta get up, the Winnie the Pooh series cartoon from the Saturday morning cartoons pops in my head, and like I'm just like gotta get up. I'm not gonna sing it because I can't, but yeah, and every morning, until I hear something else or until something else pops in my head, that's the song that is in my head from the time that I get up and take the dogs out, take them and feed them, and then I've got to get something else in my head, or it'll be in my head all morning long.
I hate that.
I miss Saturday morning cartoons.
Yes.
Yeah, I was very disappointed when I realized that there wasn't a thing anymore, because I finally got to a point where I was off on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And so I was like, ooh, I'm going to watch cartoons.
And then they're not there.
You didn't have cable. If we didn't have cable, we wouldn't have had Saturday morning cartoons at that point.
Yeah. I liked my Smurfs, Care Bears. What is that? On a lion. Where's that lion? Tiger. He-Man.
Oh,
He-Man.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, He-Man and G.I. Joe and
Rainbow Bright. That was one of my sisters at the time.
How about DuckTales?
Yes.
Yes.
They remade that. Man.
Oh my
I'm
god,
not a
yes.
big fan of the remake.
I love DuckTales. I always dreamed of going swimming in my own
Okay.
money.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. Scrooge McDuck, the McDuck Mansion,
yes.
Duckbird, Magic.
Yes.
Oh,
The Chipmunks. Was it Chipmunks?
Yes, the Disney afternoon. DuckTales, Chippendales Rescue Rangers, Tailspin, and Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about Saturday morning cartoons. There used to
Yeah.
be morning cartoons and then after school cartoons.
Yes.
And then when I was younger, it would be before I went to school, it was morning cartoons. And then when Grandma's soap operas got done, I got to watch Woody Woodpecker. And that's how I remember it. That's how my day went.
Oh, DuckTales was
I don't
DuckTales
remember
was
which
my
soap
life.
opera it was. And it's like, oh, this is the last one, huh, Grandma?
Days of Our Worlds, As the World Turns.
Days of Our Lives.
Days of Our Lives, As the World Turns. Out of Westerns.
You know,
Young and the Restless.
nostalgia is big nowadays.
Long John
I
Silver,
heard it on the radio the other day. I was listening
Three
to
Musketeers.
I want to say John Tesh on 100.1, but I heard something about nostalgia is really big, and it's a lot because everything's going crap. So we're like back into the, ooh, remember when this was cool? And days were nicer and easier times. So like all the Nintendo games are coming back. You know, we were talking about the old cartoons. Or like I will get on there and I watch Paramount so I can get on there and watch my old favorite Nickelodeon cartoons. Back when Nickelodeon was. I didn't realize that I grew up with Nickelodeon. Like they started right around when you guys were born. And
are you trying to say
brand
something?
new thing. Well, I watched the documentary.
I'll show you a documentary.
Nickelodeon Orange Years. There's my reference, guys. Go check it out. But yeah, and very few people remember some of the cartoons back from then.
Yeah.
And the other day I found someone, they said something
I
about the
vaguely
Gnome Show,
remember
and I was
some.
like, what?
And then I don't.
But we got totally off. This
Totally.
is why it's the nuts part. Got totally off. Hi, Chanel.
Cartoons
Chanel
can
said
do
Chippendale
that.
Rescue Rangers was her favorite. You know,
Yes.
they came out with the live action, and I was going to watch it. I haven't.
It was
watched
good.
It. And now it's this year.
Yeah.
So.
It was good.
But we need to go to commercial,
Yes.
and then we'll come back and actually talk about Josh Heston.
Yes.
Hi, Tammy.
Hello, Tommy.
Oh, darn mouse.
Darn.
So,
mouse.
anyways,
You didn't
we
feed
still have
cheese,
more to
did
talk
you?
about because I was not ready at all. All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE-DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
And there you have it. We have technical difficulties at this moment in time, but it's all good. We can go on with the show. You can still hear me, right?
I can.
Okay, and I can still hear you. So, where did we leave off?
Oh,
We were talking about it.
Okay, the book.
the book. Okay.
Yes.
It's all about Saturday morning cartoons.
that's what we were really talking about. But
Oh, yes.
No, it's not. What would you like to know? What would you like to know?
what did you say?
What would you like to know about the book?
Well, you said there's two of them, so
Yes.
what is the other one like exactly?
The first one is State of the Ozarks, Essays from the Ozark Mountain region, and it is a collection of articles and short pieces that was generated from State of the Ozarks itself. So that one's available on Amazon. And then the second one is my novel.
Awesome. That is freaking awesome. I love it. So,
How long did it take you to write your first book?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question.
What's that?
How long did it take you to write your first book?
The compendium piece for State of the Ozarks. Hard to say because it was pieces that I had written or had written and put on file over a number of years, and then they just got all put together and published in 2016, I think. And then the novel, it took me just under a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just under.
Is that every day? So many hours a day?
No, I can't work like that. My ideal writing time is actually about 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so on nights that I knew that I didn't have to get up early, then I would write. And I was also, the funny thing was I had been asked to teach a creative writing and novel writing class, and I had never written a novel. So I said, sure, of course I'll write it. Of course I'll teach it. And then about a month before I started teaching the class, I started writing the novel.
Where can people get them?
Easiest place is Amazon. Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.com. Plague Child's Doctor by Joshua Heston. Probably the simplest thing is to just search on Amazon Joshua Heston, and it should pull up the titles that I'm associated with. And if you don't see this cover, click on something else that has my name on it, and then click on my name, and it'll get you there.
Nice. What was your?
She was asking. She asked that, and it was popping up at the same
That's
time.
where I got it. So, what was your favorite book, like growing up?
Oh my gosh, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
As a teenager.
A teenager. Education of Little Tree. By Forrest Carter. Let's see. Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice.
Oh my God. Yes, I love it. Yes, I love it.
I started State of the Ozarks in 2007. Fast forward to 2017. There was a decade. I read a lot. There was a decade that my workload and personal life was such that I did not have the luxury to read for pleasure for 10 years. If I was reading, it had to be for work. And in 2017, finally got to the point that basically I was not terrified that if I took time out for a couple of hours a day, that I would run out of money. To put it really bluntly, that there was some leeway, that there was some sustainability with the company and with the business, and I could actually like take a morning and read and that kind of thing. And the first book that I read, summer of 2017, after a very long hiatus, was Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. And I started Plague Child's Doctor like the next week after I finished the book.
Nice.
So,
That's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Now, for the record, there's no vampires in here, but it's still.
What?
Chanel Fletcher says one of her favorite was Charlotte's Web.
That one's
That was
cool.
a good one. It's a classic.
That one was cool. I cried because the pig died.
Yeah. Chanel always also said she never missed an episode of The Waltons or Little House on the Prairie. Honey,
Oh,
I did
cool.
not either.
Oh, okay. So I did not watch Little House on the Prairie, but growing up I did watch In the Heat of the Night.
In the heat. Nope. That's hard.
I
I love that.
Those shows, oh my gosh, I cannot with those.
Why?
Because I had to watch them growing up. I had to.
Miami Vice. I loved Miami Vice.
We're not getting back on that. We're here to talk about Josh. Like, we were just reading the comments from Chanel. That way, because we didn't say come join the conversation. She just joined the conversation. She cried because Charlotte died, she said. See, back
Very
to
I know.
good segue.
Sure.
Oh.
So did you read the Star Wars
Yes.
trilogy?
Yes. When I was 10 years old, my sister got me the trilogy. It was this thick, and I was absolutely astounded. Of course, bear in mind this was 1988. This was pre-internet, so there was like nothing about Star Wars that was available. And so I finally had like the encyclopedic data of Star Wars. So I read it until its cover fell off, and then I glued it back on. And I have the book still in my library.
Oh, that is so cool.
That is freaking awesome. Like,
But I mean, that's just like 10 years ago, so.
Exactly. It's only It was, yeah, pretty crazy. My media and my books have always been really important to me, and I have a lot of them. And when I moved into the house down here in Hollister, the first trip home to bring stuff back, I had to bring back like, furniture and a bed and that sort of thing. And even then, I was like stuffing books around the mattress and around the, And when I got all of my books in the house, even though I didn't have bookcases for most of them, it finally started to feel like my home because I was just surrounded by all of my books that I'd always had.
oh wow, that's cool.
So do you have like a room designated as a library in your house?
I have a house that's made into a library. I have either bookshelves or stacks of books in every room of the house. And actually, in 2020, when things were going on, took some time out and cataloged everything. And I've got over 2,000 titles and counting. And then I go and like buy more.
Well, I mean, that's a good passion to get into.
I was just thinking the other day, though. I mean, with technology and everything, how bookstores are staying afloat. But
Yeah,
you just told
I
me.
think you know, I I think we still want to. First of all, I think people still want to hold books. Um, I've
Yeah.
downloaded apps to read books on my phone, and I stare at my phone enough. I don't want to stare at it to read.
Oh, I
I,
know, totally.
I wanna pick up books to do that, and like with Dark Ozarks, our Dark Ozark sponsor is always buying books, which is a used bookstore in Joplin, and they do an amazing business. And they curate. They work really hard to curate books. So if you take time to develop a relationship online or in person, and you're like, oh, I'm interested in this, Bob and Elise will find things and be like, oh, hey, you should check this out. Got these books. Do you want to come in and look at them? So it's and I, along with pretty much everybody else on the planet, rely heavily on Amazon. But it's really amazing to have real people that you can actually talk to and a real place that you can walk in and buy books. I don't think that's going away.
Good. Because I was kind of
hope
worried
not.
about that. Chanel
Yeah.
says she loves the smell of a new book. Girl, I totally get that. It reminds me of the first day of school, and it reminds me of when we had book fairs. And those were like
No, I
awesome parts
love
of
the
the day.
book fairs.
Yeah. The smell of a new book, there's just something nostalgic about it.
It is. And it's and a good book will take you to a completely different place. And the benefit of physically having a book is that there's at no point is your book going to remind you that you have work emails.
True.
Right.
I like how you put that. That's
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah, totally. I'm like notification every day, all the time. That is so cool. So, what is your second favorite book as a kid growing up?
Oh, second favorite book. Wow. Let me think. The White Seal by Rudyard Kipling. That's a good book. That's a very good book. Closely tied with Ricky Tikki Tavi by Rudyard Kipling. I grew up with a love for seals and mongoose as a result of that. But and I will say I kind of cheated back in, and you guys may have seen this. I don't know. But I don't think I ever actually saw the cartoon. There were cartoons with some beautiful animation of the White Seal and Ricky Tikki Tavi. And I'm trying to remember, it obviously wasn't Disney, but it was like a pretty recognizable animation house that produced them. Now, my mom fostered this amazing love of books for me, and she did it really simply. Anytime that we went to town, I was really little, I would want toys, and she's like, yeah, no, but I could always ask for a book and I'd get it, and then we'd read it that night.
Right.
And that was just the rule across the board. And so I just developed this immense love of reading and this immense love of books. And we would buy books that had been inspired by the cartoon, but not watch the cartoon. And the White Seal and Ricky Tikki Tavi, we had these large animation books, and I have them around here somewhere. Gorgeous artwork, and I fell in love with the story, but then discovered later, not much later, like maybe a year or two later, the collection of Rudyard Kipling stories that had the actual full stories in those, and then we read those as well. And that was really it was the first time I was really wrapping my head around the fact that you have this animation product, and then you have the children's book, but then you actually have the adult book that inspired the children's book. And I've always been fascinated by the idea of finding stuff out, but then digging as deep as you possibly can to find out as much as you possibly can. And so that was probably the first step in that. Also, a book on folkloric monsters, including Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot, when I was 8. I still have that book too.
Oh, cool.
That brings us into the excuse me, into the ghost tours and your
paranormal.
like for the paranormal.
I
my original segue, because we were talking about all the sci-fi stuff, and that's when we like, well, we talked about sci-fi, but where's the paranormal side come from?
Oh, very true. I love paranormal. I in some cases I feel more at home with doing research and investigation on the paranormal than I do in a lot of normal settings. Not sure exactly what that says about me, but it's it is what it is.
I like it. Like I actually like the paranormal myself.
Yeah.
I always have. Like I've totally been into it. There are certain things throughout my lifetime that I've seen that, yeah. I mean,
I've wanted to live in a funeral home since I've seen my girl.
And funeral homes tend to be quite haunted, so it's definitely a good way to up the odds of experiencing activity.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yep. So whenever you go to haunted houses and places. So
Yes.
what do you feel as you enter one of them?
So there's been a couple of times that I've had pretty intense pushback experiences, but for the most part, how I tend to approach it is I do the same thing that I do as a journalist, and as a journalist, a good journalist will put themselves into the environment and just observe and see what's there. I try to keep a very open mind, but also not try not to let my mind affect an expectation.
Right.
Because I don't want it skewing a perspective. Once we start thinking that there's something hiding in the shadows, the brain can fill in a lot on its own and kind of do that. So I try to, keep that from happening. But something that this is a working theory, I'll share it with you guys, and it seems to be very helpful for me, is I think that our waking mind puts up a lot of barriers to prevent us from experiencing things that the mind does not understand.
Right. Yep.
And you talk about that and people come to the conclusion that it is, like say, oh, you hear, a funny creak in the house. And you hear this funny creak in the house, and then it's like, oh, it must be the wind, or and the mind starts coming up with all of these rationale for it. But I think it goes further than that. I think that the rational mind puts up blocks to prevent us from fully registering things that we experience, and that the logic, predominantly the logic of the left brain, acts as a shield to keep us from experiencing the unknown. And that logic is very powerful when you're actually in an environment, but it will degrade over time. That logic gets diverted. The energy for that gets diverted to do other things like drive effectively in traffic and so on and so forth. And anytime that we're like in a heavy sensory experience, like it's the same reason that we get all of our best ideas when we're driving, or when we're showering, or all the things that we are doing when we're doing something else, and then insight and understanding tend to come during that process. So I basically try very hard to just put myself into a state of observation without an opinion, but also not trying to create anything. So a very bland state when I'm in an environment. And then with the anticipation, the realization that sometime over approximately the next 3 days, I can just ask myself, okay, what was your sensation? What was your opinion? What was your take on this? And I oftentimes get a pretty detailed recollection of, or a pretty detailed impression of the environment that goes beyond just the environment.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. Sounds
It-
just about right.
the one of the more striking ones was the first time I went to the George Ball House in Webb City, which was in May, and we just stopped in for a moment, and our intern had some pretty heavy pushback. There was points that I sensed a certain amount of pressure, but not a lot of anything else. And then over the next 3 days, got a really strong impression of a rather frantic elderly woman pretty much in my face trying to get a point across. And that was odd. That was very odd.
Yeah. So is there anybody that goes with you whenever you do all this?
Yeah, I'm I'm not afraid to go into pretty much any location by myself, but of course, many of the locations I go in with Lisa Martin. Lisa is the other half of Dark Ozark. She's my co-producer with Dark Ozark. She's a paranormal investigator as well.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we have a lot of paranormal shows on
Yeah.
our network, like a lot. And there's another network that has a lot of paranormal on it. So yeah, that is just so cool. I love how it's always been around me, one way or the other. It's been there.
This is pretty off topic, but Chanel says, think about this: all the world's water is constantly recycled. So, in essence, we are drinking dinosaur piss. I have to share that with everybody because
Oh, Sinead, girl.
oh,
That is so cool.
she's been going through some stuff with
Yes.
cancer and whatnot. So Chanel, I'm glad that you can join us tonight.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Me too. Love you, Sinead.
But yes, I want to hit on more of the paranormal stuff, but we are almost out of time.
Yes. So we will pick that back up whenever we come back next Thursday on the next show that he is going to be on.
What are you telling me?
Works for me.
So we're gonna. Oh my god! So we are going to sign off. Thank you so much, Josh, for being on tonight.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
been a blast. I love having you around, my man, because you're just freaking fast.
Talking to you just makes time go by so quickly.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't even done.
Yeah, I didn't even
I wanted to hear more. But
Well,
that's
I
next Thursday.
appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
We appreciate
Absolutely.
you, so thank you.
So yes, tune in next Thursday. You have a good night, Mr. Josh Heston.
We'll put you in the back and we'll be right out.
Yes. We'll see you in a sec.
Good night, everybody. And check him out, guys. Go to Amazon and type in Josh Heston. You can get his books right there, buds. And Chanel says, love you, T-Roy and Kevin. Love you too, girl. Thank you. All right, we'll see you later.
So there you have it. There you have it. I can't wait until next Thursday because it's going to be fabulous, just like this show and every other show that we're on. Huh. I got a big head. Anyways, be.
Anyways, think about it.
Your head's bigger than mine, honey. It's okay. Anyways, peace and love to everybody. Be a rainbow. Have somebody else be a rainbow. Please tune in next Thursday at 9 o'clock on WLFE-DB.com. You can also check us out at T-Row TV, mostly me. And Zero TV Facebook page, along with Everything Nothin Facebook page. Oh, and the brunch hour every Tuesday, 11 to 1. Peace and love. Bye. See you.
Thank you for joining T. Roy and a special guest here on Everythin Yet Nothin. Tune in next Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central for another episode you won't want to miss. Until next time, be a rainbow in someone's life. Like and follow us on Facebook at WLFE DB Radio.
Hey, and